Okay, this is the assessment portion of your class for your first responders course. I want to break down assessment into 3 different sections so it'll make it easier when you're trying to study for this chapter. The first thing you want to do is do your scene survey. So while you're getting in your ambulance or while you're taking the call from dispatch, these are the things that you should be thinking about. First off, you're going to get your BSI or your gloves, your personal protective equipment, depending on what the call is going to be. It may require you getting a vest, it may require you using goggles, it may require you using a gown in case you're delivering a baby. So you should always know what you're familiar with and what you have at your place of employment, whether it's fire department, industry, or the ambulance. For this one is the nature of illness or mechanism of injury. So the nature of illness is, it might be chest pain, so it's going to be cardiac related. That would be a cardiac nature of illness. Or the mechanism of injury would possibly be a blunt trauma due to a car accident. So this mechanism of injury, or MOI, is for trauma. NOI is for medical cause, such as cardiac or diabetes emergencies. The number of patients that you have also is important, and these kind of go hand in hand, because if you have 2 or 3 patients, then you're going to need more resources. So you're going to identify how many patients you have, and you try to get that from dispatch as you're going en route. And then additional resources, you know, if it's more of a critical case, then you might be calling a helicopter, or if you're just a basic unit, then you may be calling for a paramedic unit. So this being said, the person that's always the passenger is always going to be thinking about these things while the driver's looking. If you're on an ambulance call, and the person sitting over the passenger side should also be helping you as well. So you have 2 jobs: safety for what you're going to, and the safety of operation of the vehicle. Now, if you're in an industrial setting, then you're going to be doing the same thing, except you're going to be thinking about maybe is the electricity turned off? Have you called security? Have you done these kind of things to make sure that you are safe? So this section is all about you and your scene safety, because you can't take care of your patient if you're not safe, and you can't be a victim yourself. So your primary assessment is what you're going to go into when you first see the patient. This is the most critical part, that you're going to be making sure everything is okay with your patient. And this is going to depend on how important it is, and whether you're going to follow through with those resources that you need. So C-spine is the first thing you do, and if you're going to do C-spine, you're going to make a decision, and you're going to get somebody to help you with that so you can do the other things. These are kind of simultaneously. So C-spine and your ABCs is a simultaneous event that happens with your partner. So you say, hey, look, it's trauma. You get C-spine. And then your airway, is it patent and open? Are they breathing? How fast are they breathing? What's the character? Are they shallow breathing, deep breathing? Do you need to help them with their breathing? And anytime during the primary survey, you're going to make a decision right then if you need to make changes to their condition right then, if you can. So you're going to treat immediate life threats. Same thing with circulation. Do they have a pulse? How strong is their pulse? And or is there any bleeding anywhere? So if there's any bleeding, then you're going to stop that right then before you go anywhere else into your assessment. And then after you get your ABCs done, or airway, breathing, and circulation completed, then you will decide your transport decision. Do they need a helicopter, or should I call an additional resource, or should we just get them out of here and get them where they need to go? After that, you can do other things, like your secondary assessment. You have time to get your full spread of vitals, your OPQRST, which stands for onset, the onset of what happened, what provoked it, the quality, does it radiate if it's pain, how severe is it, and what time did it happen. So you can ask these kinds of things as you go through your assessment, and you'll be able to identify what caused it and how it happened, and you need to be as objective as possible when you write these assessments. Your sample history. This is something you can get if you have another helper or somebody that's helping you in the industry setting, or if you have first responders that's with you helping you, then you can use the sample, and they can do this while you're doing this. So you can say, hey, can you go get the sample history for us? But if you don't, you want to do this in the secondary assessment. And you can get this from family members, or you can get a phone number from your patient and you can call if you have to. You can get this in many different ways, but you definitely want to try to get it. If you can't, it's okay. So your sample history is the signs and symptoms, which you probably already know. Are they allergic to anything? Do they take any medicine? Past pertinent medical history, the last oral intake, and then the events leading up to. That is your sample history. So then you either break it down. Is this a trauma situation or is this a medical situation? And if it's medical, you're going to focus on systems such as neurology, cardiac, respiratory, OBGYN, and psych. So you may go back in and do a little bit more detailed assessment over cardiac or respiratory if it's, say, a COPD emergency. Or if it's a metabolic problem, then you would spend a little bit more time asking questions about their diabetes histories and things like that to try to get you a little bit more information. And of course, if you do a head to toe, that is trauma. You can do that as well at this time. And then you want to keep reassessing your patient as you do this and take vitals every 5 to 10 minutes for emergent patients and every 15 minutes for stable patients. This particular guy, we just got dispatched to go to a scene of a motor vehicle accident of a patient that was ejected from the car. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my BSI on, make sure I got my equipment. The mechanism of injury is ejection from a vehicle, it's trauma. And we only have one patient, and I am the paramedic unit, so I only have I only need me for right now. I may consider using air evac if this guy's condition warrants it. So the very first thing, hey, ma'am, do you mind getting C-spine? Okay, and well, the first thing we're going to do is take care of C-spine. Alright, now you can move your hand to the outside of the thing. Okay, now we have C-spine. She's going to continue to manually hold C-spine while I check out the airway. It's open and it's patent. And he's breathing 16 times a minute. He is unconscious, so he's probably sustained a head injury. And I'm going to check a pulse. Now we've just checked, by looking at this, we've checked the airway and circulation real quick. And while I'm checking those things, I'm going to check breathing and look to make sure that he's got equal chest rise. His breathing is 12 times a minute. And at this time, we're going to make our transport decision to go ahead and call air evac since his has an altered mental status. Now, since we've done that, we went from our primary assessment to our secondary, and we can spend a little bit more time doing our head to toe. And the reason why I did it this way is so that I can do my head to toe while I'm putting them on the spine board. So now I'm going to look at their eyes, check their pupils, see if they're equal, and be able to know what size they are. I'm going to look around, feel around his head here, feel out behind. Then I'm going to check his septum to see that it's equal. Then I'm going to go down, look at his neck, make sure that he doesn't have deviation of his trachea, and check for jugular vein distension. Then check his chest, feel, make sure I still have equal chest rise. I can listen to his lung sounds. And then I'm going to take, I don't rock. A lot of people are taught to rock. I don't rock because if they have pelvic problems and they're awake, then when you put 2 fingers right here, they're going to let you know it hurts. Then I do the lower extremities. I can check the upper extremities. And then on the count of 3, we're going to turn him over and we're going to check his back, his butt, and his lower extremities on the back side. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, check the back of his head, check his back, check his buttocks, and his back of his leg look intact. And then we're going to set him on the spine board. Make sure he's on there right. We always check a pulse every time we put him on the spine board. We always attach the torso and the waist first in case they fall off the spine board. We're going to check peripheral motor and sensory again. Pulse is present, pulse is present, pulse present. Okay, now we're going to get vital signs and get a sample history and our OPQRST again and continue to reassess until our airback gets here. You would, if you were a first responder and you were doing this at an industry, you would be getting this done, and as soon as they get there, then they'll be ready to start IVs and give medications if they need to.